Hi there and welcome back to Japan, and specifically to our Scandal Best Scandal album listen through. Now, this has been an interesting one because obviously this is one that I've been waiting a long time to do, and I know roughly what this band's about, but I didn't know exactly what to expect. Now, having jumped into this and basically listened to an album that's over 10 years old now, so far, first two tracks very impressive indeed, and I've just listened now to the song Dull as well. Now, just so you know, this entire track-by-track review, we're not be doing it as reaction, just as reviews after I listen to the songs, because of the fact that unfortunately there's a lot of legal touchiness around Scandal's music, due to various companies. Let's not get into that now. Now, also, if you want to follow all of these videos in this particular album listen through, then the link is in the description below. So if you haven't, go and listen to the song Doll by Scandal now. Okay, right, let's have a little talk about this. Actually, this was quite interesting. It's difficult because this song has a lot to live up to after the first two songs, and the first two songs were really rip-roaringly brilliant. I mean, from the perspective of this being a first album, and being, like I say, over 10 years old, that was a really sort of unexpectedly strong start with the first songs. And the first two songs, very different. One was more radio-friendly, the second much more sort of dynamic and, you know, maybe less of a single, but certainly, in my opinion, a much more lively-sounding song and better written as well. So you had one which was good in a really easy way and one which was good in a more technical way. So moving on to track number 3, Doll, where are we going to go next? Well, they've actually managed, this is the first song where it skipped up from that sort of medium tempo sound to something a little bit faster, almost edging on a bit punky at some points in this song. Now, that was actually quite an interesting choice because it did, like I said, it kind of sped things up a little bit, gave a little bit of extra energy there. But the song was now a much, much more simple one than the two that had come before it. It was very stripped back. I mean, in the verses, it goes down to just vocals and drums for the best part, with a few guitar stabs, which was really, really cool when it first happened. So when we got around to the second verse and it happened again, it did feel a little bit sparse. I mean, there was some really cool, like, backing vocal stuff came in at that point, but the second verse felt a little bit sparse, and that's where I started to get the indication of probably my only real problem with this song, because it is a song that I like in a lot of ways. It's got real raw energy, and it is actually quite catchy, you know, especially for an album track. Like, I don't know specifically which tracks were singles, so apologies if I'm getting this wrong. I know that the first track, Scandal Baby, off of Best Scandal by Scandal, that was a single, but I don't know if this one was a single. I'm assuming for now that it wasn't. It was very catchy for an album track. However, I think what it kind of lacked was, you know, for all that speed and all of that sort of liveliness to the bits where it breaks down, it did feel like it sort of broke down a bit too much. The drive wasn't consistent enough throughout the song. It felt like it should have built up a little bit more. I mean, the second verse, like I say, felt a little bit empty, despite the vocal stuff in the background. And then you had a bridge that, again, went very, very minimalist. That's kind of, like I say, that's not a bad thing. There's nothing bad about that. But for a song like this, it kind of felt like maybe there should have been little details thrown in more. I'm reminded kind of more of, like I say, I mean, of Scandal I've heard so little, but I've heard a few tracks off of their most recent album that's coming out in February 2020, next year, at the time we recorded this. Now, the thing which was really nice about that, and especially I was thinking about a song like Masterpiece, is that there was just details everywhere. The song was actually awash with details. Every little second, they could put something in, they put it in, but it was subtle. It was never too much. It was never too showy. They just knew how to fill out the song. This is kind of an example of something which lacks that level of maturity, and that it's got the raw energy. It knows what it's doing, and it's really cool to see it doing that thing where it balances the light bits to the heavier bits, which, you know, as I always say on this channel, I think this is a big theme of this channel when we cover heavier music usually, is heavy doesn't sound heavy unless you've got something light to contrast it. So those sort of like pop rocky choruses in this song that actually feel like something much more rocky and much more powerful because of the fact they have that contrast. However, the song doesn't quite have enough energy and enough detail to really sort of carry its full runtime, and it's not a very long song at 3.5 minutes. So for me, this is it's a nice change from the first two songs before it. It's definitely an enjoyable one that I at the time of listening I really enjoyed it, but I know this is one that after a few listens this would become one of those ones where my brain would start switching off. There's nothing objectionable about it, so it's not one track that you would skip, I don't think, but I think it's one that would have a bit of trouble holding your attention after you were used to it. Maybe what could have helped with this is maybe if the producer had tried to make something a little bit more a little bit more impactful out of those minimalist bits where it's just vocal and drum, like maybe adding some sort of layering the drums, or having something bigger like some stomps and claps along with the beats or something like that, just to make it sound a little bit more like those bits were minimalist, but they were maintaining the energy of the song, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, like I said, this sort of goes loud and quiet and loud and quiet. It does so many things that I like, but doesn't manage to quite hold that energy. Anyway, I'll keep on repeating my point here. So as I say, this is a really good song, especially for, like I say, when this album came out and how early it is in their career. It's actually a fantastic song. But I would say, given the fact they've set the bar so incredibly high with the two songs before it, it makes a good follow-up. But I think this is probably the first track that I think, as I say, really liked it this time. But I can kind of tell this is one of those ones that I don't think is going to weather the test of time quite as well as its two direct predecessors. Anyway, so that was a good track. Like I say, I'm really enjoying this listen through. I think I'm having to, well, on this channel, we're always honest, always try and give the honest opinions. We don't just kiss ass with these bands or with these songs, so that we can start a conversation. So by all means, get in there and give me your comments as well. Tell me what you think by contrast. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. If you can justify your point, it'd be lovely to hear either way, because I love to get the conversation going on this whole thing. So, as I say, so far, though, they've set the bar very high for themselves, which means I'm having to think a little bit more about these songs, to think about, why some are better than others. It's not like there's anything obviously bad thus far after 3 tracks, so I'm hoping that this album manages to hold up throughout. And if you're following, as I say, on the playlist, right after this video, we'll go into the next track. So for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video in just a second. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.